Well, having seen the details of an algorithm, now let's see how to write it down in steps, in a series of steps, and what we call that as an algorithm. All right. So we have seen the description, how the simple sort works, and then let us write them down in series of steps, and that would make the algorithm for simple sort. So again, I repeat for the sake of clarity, we have got an input array and the output is going to be an in-place array. So what is the step one that we have done? So we begin from the index 0 and go to n. Right? So the complete elements of an array to be traversed. So therefore, we start from 0 and move till n. Then compare the rest of the elements to the index I. In fact, this is to the index ith value, right? So how do we compare the rest of the elements? So what do we mean by comparing the rest of the elements? So you are at an index value and you want to compare the rest of the elements. So which means you need a particular index to be there and you need another index to compare with the other elements, right? So this is the key understanding. So that helps us whether we need one single loop or two loops or three loops. One should be inside the other or two independent loops are required. So this gives us the clarity. So here we are saying you start from an index and then you compare with the rest of the elements, which means we start from an index and then compare all the elements. So we need one iteration. So we need one loop to completely go through it. The next step, swap if the ith element is smaller than the current element. So if we call this index I, where we began, its value, and then the rest of the elements. Let's call another index j, which helps us in going through the rest of the elements. Compare the value at I with the value at j. If the value at ith location is smaller, you swap them. That is what the third step, which we have done in the explanation. Right? So what is that you do after swapping? You repeat the steps from 1 to 3 until all the elements are traversed. Right? So 1, 2, 3 again. So begin from the index to n, which means the next iteration you increment your index I. So now it has become 1. The I, it became 1, and then your j again reset to 0, and from 0 to n you compare all the elements. If the value at I is smaller than value at j, you swap them and then repeat the steps. So you do this until your I goes to n, that is equals to your number of elements. Well, so that is how from a description of a problem statement and the solution, deriving and defining an algorithm. Well, hope this gave you clarity of writing a simple sort algorithm. Next, we see the complete program.